Hello.
Hey Pete, how are you?
Good. How's it going?
Good.
Interesting day.
Yeah. Gee, it was crazy.
I have a feeling that there will be plenty of bars filled with traders this afternoon.
Oh my gosh. I really couldn't believe we just didn't, they couldn't stay. I really honestly thought we were going right back up, and we certainly did not.
Well, I think that today was a phenomenal demonstration of why we spent so much time on the opening price.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
was the high of the day for the entire day until 1 o'clock. It got retested just before 1 o'clock, held up perfectly as resistance, and just got clobbered after that. And then we actually traded down to what was the previous low of the day. So we talk about it over and over and over again. Yesterday's high and low is the reference points that you should start out with immediately coming into the day. After the market opens, then you go to the opening price, and then you have today's high and low in reference to yesterday's high and low. I mean, textbook actually today. By no stretch of the imagination was it a day you could feel, gosh, I have a really good grip on this. I mean, well, actually, I take that back. The first 2 hours of the day were very tradable. There were a lot of good sell shorts today. There were some longs that did not go down that we were looking to rally, and they did rally when the market picked up. But the shorts were the easier money in the beginning part of the day. We had a few really good stocks that we normally keep an eye on that performed well today. Let me just, if you don't mind, Mary, I'll just do I'll do a quick PowerPoint, and then we can get into just to
Yeah.
set everything up. So clearly, tail three markets, and that's really just in
Uh-huh.
regard to the different trends that the market traded today. Um, look, I can't say it's bizarre. I mean, we went into the day looking at this. Apple got hit pretty hard, news and otherwise yesterday, and then there was sporadic green across the board. But the most important thing was, there was a lot written yesterday about the close. Like the last 2 hours of the day yesterday, and great, the bulls are back and everything. But really, the bottom line was it was an inside day on really light volume. So it was very hard to get excited yesterday. Actually, I shouldn't say yesterday, about yesterday coming into today.
Right.
So here's essentially what I had as a thought process going into the day. SPY price action trades into an inside day, which is basically just what we said. Too many traders focusing on the strong close. And I think that all of those trades that I spoke to, whether it was on Facebook or in forums and whatnot, they're all long already and kind of feeling relief, the fact that the market closed strong. But I could never ignore this. I mean, you can't get excited when the market trades actually the SPY trades half the amount of shares as it did the day before.
Right.
That's a giant haircut in volume. I mean, that's literally saying now hardly anybody's involved. Matter of fact, it's literally saying half the amount of people as yesterday, or
Right.
half the commitment from yesterday.
Nobody is involved.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So bullish reversal, yes, but in many stocks also an inside day. And again, you can definitely like the reversal, but we need to trade above the previous day's high. So we actually opened higher, but the high was the high of the day. So plenty of chat about the market topping out after one day. Yesterday's price action shows you why you need to have a little bit more time. That's the thing that's really fascinating. We've become such a trader centric market, even in the news. They're talking about from hour to hour and one day completely reversing the market. It's just fascinating, really. I mean, I
Yeah.
understand computers and everything are involved, but market doesn't turn in one day. That's really, I don't, is there any other way to say that?
No, I don't think so.
So anyway, here's what we had at the end of today. Still not really a lot of clarity. I mean, a lot of these stocks were green based on higher openings that kind of hovered there, but not necessarily beautiful trends. There were a couple of them that did have some good trends. Apple actually pushed lower. We're looking for the financials to maintain that island gap higher, and not as strong as we expected. I guess we'll
No, they
actually.
didn't. Really, I think that was one of the first clues is when they started falling apart.
Yeah, right out of the gate. I mean, we were looking for this. This was actually pretty healthy. We like to say the 3 day gap. You hold the 3 day gap, and you're looking good. And we actually opened higher from the previous day's close, but just gave it up immediately, which was like, wow,
Yeah.
really couldn't even hold that at all. So uh, I'm not going to say confusing because it is decreasing volume during a flag. That's actually healthy, but the fact that we gave it up, and again, we'll go to the spider. So the fact that we gave it up so quickly and could never get above the opening price the entire day, that essentially means that for today, after a bullish even though it was an inside candle yesterday, a bullish reversal day closing on the lows, we couldn't even get above the open for more than this little window right here.
Right.
So the entire day was confirming the selling pressure, even though we did have this. I'm not going to make light of it. Basically about just about $1.25. But I'm not going to say reason for concern because it's hard to be concerned after the market has a strong 5-week rally like this. I do kind of feel like we're going to trade within this window. I think that we're going to need some sort of catalyst to get us out of this window. I think that we're going to go sideways here. And that's I'm not going to say that's based on anything in particular other than experience of reading the tape and what I feel we would need to happen to see us get through these 2015 highs or to collapse down to 200 again. I don't foresee any major catalyst to get us out of the window that much. But again, that being said, there's plenty of individual stocks to trade. I mean, this is definitely the stock picker market this year.
Right. Oh, yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, we had one stock that we had called out this morning, acted very well today, was Facebook.
Yep. Held very, very well. And again, this is the decision that a lot of day traders need to make is whether or not you're taking some of these entry signals long before it gets above the opening price while the market is weak, or you're waiting for example, this here on this 10-minute chart for it to close back above the open and then get involved. But if again, we were discussing it this morning, these bottoming tails were very telling. It was price pushed down once, price pushed down twice, and couldn't stay there. Now, even if you didn't bid into that because you like the stock long, it certainly had to make you feel good that the stock was going to reverse. I mean, that's 20 minutes of the buyers stepping back in and pushing it higher. We did have a couple of good short sales there this morning too, and I think this one by a mile being the one that everybody in the room should have gotten paid on today. I mean, there were multiple entries. We started calling it out here within the first 11 minutes of the day, so it was not like you missed it. We were calling it out there, and then each 5-minute entry flag or whatever it happened to have been. Once we broke the support on the daily chart, there was plenty of room to go. There was some other retail stocks that got hit off of the Macy's news, which gapped down and continued to trade lower. So there's some opportunities even after the gap down there today. Kohl's and some of the other guys that actually in the first 90 minutes followed through. So we also had the Apple trade or follow through, however you want to call it. This was interesting when it did not push lower, but the entire market reversed at that point. But the part that I'm finding interesting now about Apple, even though it's 2 dojis in a row, we're continuing to hang around this 116 level, which we know, obviously we talk about every day in the room. That's kind of the reference point that we have right now. So as long as it sticks around here, I'm not ready to bail on it and say it's going to collapse. But I'm not sure that I see a trade with conviction to the long side right now. So I kind of feel like even though I'm not ready to hammer the short side, I'm not really sure that I'm ready to get long the stock again either. What do you feel? I know you're involved in this one.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I think that this is one to take notice of right at this point.
We had our Amazon continuing to be a beast out of the gate today, the first few hours of the day. And again, you can see clearly holding above the opening price the entire day, despite what the market did. I mean, it actually went up the first few hours of the day when the market was going down. Never mind actually following through when the market actually picked up a bid. So whether you're trading options or whether you can afford this stock, it's definitely something to be keeping an eye on from an individual's basis. We were looking to short the agricultural stocks today. And they were actually playing out pretty well, excuse me, but then ended up catching a bid with the rest of the market. That's a pretty impressive $2 rally in CF today.
Yeah, it really was.
So I guess, going back to the financials, I don't like the fact that they didn't hold and they sold off right away out of the gate, but I do like the fact that we gapped up and now 3 days in a row after the gap, it's decreasing volume each day. So we're not exactly getting what you might be considered a distribution top-up period, which would be heavier volume during a pause. We're actually getting lighter volume during a pause and decreasing. So I actually think that's healthy. But I think the market has a lot of people on the indecisive button. If there's an easy button, I think they're on the indecisive button right now. which really brings to light the necessity to really game plan your butt off prior to the market, because look, we had a ton of stocks to sell short this morning, and obviously DG and the retail stocks were the ones that we were trading the most aggressively and calling out the most aggressively this morning, and we carried those over into the market. It was if you were short this morning, and again let's say like WDC, which followed through nicely today, STX. actually followed through nicely out of the gate today. If you had some good stocks coming in and breaking these support levels and they bounced, you need to make sure you're paying attention to everything. And I think we covered this quite a bit this morning, where you're in the stock, but you need to learn to make more distinction. So, if, like I believe Carmine had one of these stocks, either WDC or STX. I think it was WDC. I can't remember, but either way, if the market bounces the way it did and you have a decent trade in the stock, you can't ignore what the market's doing, even though you got a really good setup and maybe you want to be holding it a little bit longer. I think he had mentioned holding to the close. That works, holding to the close when everything is still in sync with your original idea. You have to be able to adjust, but it was a really good call out by Carmine and a really good short that he had called out. I believe RRC was another one that he had.
Yeah,
So two. Yeah. So two great calls in there by Carmine in the room today. But I guess the point that I want to make is the best laid plans still need to be adjusted if the entire market turns around. At the very least, tighten up a trailing stop if you don't want to bail on a position that you really like. So I think interesting day, but I think absolutely the most important thing is exactly what we keep harping on every single day. And hopefully it's getting drilled into everybody, and especially everybody in the live trading room with us, is we are stock specific right now. You have to cycle through a lot of stocks, find room to go. And you had mentioned it this morning, Marion, that find a couple of other stocks that are in the same sector, the same industry, and work the keyboard to, if one stock does something, take a quick look at the other ones and see if they're doing the same thing. If they are, great. You could have a little bit of conviction level. If not, then maybe drop the conviction level just a little bit because it's stock specific. But it certainly helps when other stocks in the sector are doing the same thing.
Right, exactly.
Anything surprise you today?
Just this afternoon, I actually thought that maybe we would have a sustained rally there. Facebook, actually, its strength really surprised me. Although I was expecting strength, not like that on the weak market, the weakness in the market. So I was actually surprised, pleasantly surprised.
Yep, I think the higher opening didn't shock everybody. I think the higher opening and immediate selling is what made everybody really step up in their chair and be like, all right, what just happened?
Yeah, exactly. And then it was unrelenting for a while there,
which was great for our shorts.
Yeah, it sure was.
So I think going into tomorrow, look, not a doji. We did close on the lows, did make a higher low, which is interesting. We're still comfortably above the 20-period moving average. So going into tomorrow, the SPY is still a long. You're not reversing your entire concept on the market until it changes trend. And again, changes trend, minimum would need to see it get below the 20. Real change of trend would need to get below the 50 and then have the 20 actually roll over with it. So we're a mile away from a change of trend. So if you're having a little bit of a hard time right now, it's best to have one side of the market locked in, one side of your trades locked in. So in other words, don't get short Starbucks, don't get long Starbucks in the same day. Pick a side. And if this kind of stuff happens, just be okay and let it go. Take your loss and look for another short sale entry if you want to be short, or look for another long entry if you want to be long. But when you get this kind of tape, I'm telling you, you could really get beat up, and if you're trying to trade both sides of it, and it could really shatter your confidence. So be confident in which side you're looking at. If the market and the market internals are on your side, all the better. And then just work your way down to, no, I only have the individual stocks, so that's what I got to lean on right now, and then judge your own conviction level from there.
Right. I totally agree. I think that's really sound advice.
Okay. All right. We're going to call it a meeting. And Marion, thank you very much for hanging out. And we will see you tomorrow morning.
All right. And thank you.
Okay. Thanks. Have a great night.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.